Right, well this is a really random one, so I obviously walked into dealerships the other day. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. And finally BMW let me in. And I wanted to do this because I wanted to have some new photos to put on my website that look nice and corporate, nice and professional, that other dealerships might want for themselves. So it's actually really easy. So this video is going to be quite quick. You don't actually need to edit them that much. I only play with the temperature and the exposure. So we're going to expose the photo to where we want it to. I'm just looking at the car. So we're going to go about there. I like the car, but what I like to do is lift the shadows. I should have done that before, really. I like to lift the shadows all the way up so you can see all those details of that car down to the exhaust here. And then we'll actually adjust the exposure to where we want it for the car. So I'm going to go about there. You can slightly bring down the highlights sometimes of the car, but I actually like it to have some reflections because it just looks, well, basically we want it to look nice and bright and white. That's what they normally look like, depending on the actual dealership. But obviously you see, they've always got nice white walls, so we need to get rid of that fingernail yellow color. So we're going to do that first. So we'll go about there. I'm looking at the walls. And obviously you are going to adjust the paint of the car, so you do need to be careful, but I'm not being paid for this, so I don't actually care. The paint could do with a bit more blue in it. So we'll go about there. That's kind of all I did to the photo. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't go crazy. I could obviously put a preset on, which I did for my Instagram, which was classic. No, what one did I put on? I think I put on cinema. I think I might have put on cinema. Yeah, I put on cinema, and then I lifted up the exposure, and then I brought down some highlights and stuff like that. The presets are linked below if you want them. Hold on, I need to let my dog in. So, you've edited the photo. That's done. We don't need to do anything other. You can actually, sorry, I'm gonna say one more thing. You can go down to the colors, and I just like to make these reds of the tail lights look a bit more cherry, bring the orange out in the number plate a little bit, and just darken all the main colors that I can see, just to bring a little bit of richness into them. But that's all I would do. They don't want crazy edits for that style of photo. From there, I just add some shadows and some like light into it just to give it a little bit of texture, otherwise it does look a bit flat. So what I'm going to do is choose where I want the light source to come from. The reflections are on this part of the car, so it makes sense to have the light source coming from here. So we'll pull it in a shadow from this side, and we're not going to go crazy. We're just going to bring a slight shadow about there into the image, and then we're going to do the same thing from the light source coming onto the car, and we're just going to lift that exposure a little bit more. You don't need to be afraid to blow out the highlights because the main focus is the car, and it actually looks quite dreamy sometimes when you've got these nice blown out highlights. So that's something I always struggle with. I always want to make sure the highlights are all the way down. But yeah, you can bring it to about there is where I'm going to go through, and that's just going to give you a nice light and shade. So you've got the shadow here, you've got the light source here, and it just draws your eye into this middle sector that is not being affected by them, and that is mainly the headlight, which we chose to focus on. And that's kind of all I wanted to show you. So just lift up the shadows all the way, bring up the exposure, then just play around with the temperature, go into the colors if you need to pinpoint any like cherry red in that headlight or anything else, or if you need to fix the paint of the car because you've changed it. And then just go here and just add a little shadow and a little light source just to give it a bit of 3D, a bit of like something to the photo, so it's not all flat. And that is how you get that sort of corporate business flat. I don't know, they all look like that, don't they? Like, they all look nice and clean and fresh. So that's how you do it. You just don't edit it that much. Just adjust the basic things, add your own shadows, job done. Hopefully that helped. Presets below, gears below, subscribe, plenty more crazy content that's not just boring business stuff. But I just thought I'd give you that because I'm going to use this for my website now. All right, see you later.